Morning or afternoon? Morning. Good morning. So we're going to look at financial services in the age of artificial intelligence, more of a sort of a crystal ball trying to see the future. Now, I want to first off to thank yesterday's speakers and today's speakers, Hartnell, Joel, and Mutiso, who have taken a lot out of my slides. So I'll have less to say, but then that gives me more time to focus on a few areas which are closer to heart around this. I didn't want to have slides, but everybody had slides, so got some AI to help me with the images for the slides. So when you think about AI systems and like the future, how many of you right now are using any AI tools in any shape or form for financial purposes? Whether it's doing math for you, whether it's planning, credit scoring, anything, chatbots, you've had some interaction with them. And I tend to think that those interactions right now are sort of a low-hanging fruit, and we are trying to get to the big picture. And so we end up in such a case of this is what we end up using AI for, but in actual sense, that's what we deploy. There's some audio behind this. It would have been really fun. Let me just start that for you again then. All right. Am I the one who can hear the music? I think so. So that's what we end up deploying. The question is, how do we go from those small, sort of broken, when you buy something online and what you get delivered, how do we not make that mistake with AI? So what are some of the low-hanging fruits that we've achieved or that we are achieving with use of AI in financial services? Fraud detection, chatbots, virtual assistants, risk assessment, personalized finance, and customer sentiment analysis. What are the lowest hanging fruits that we have conquered, or there's a lot that has been done to the point where we don't think that's AI anymore. We just think maybe it's good math or good algorithms. Automating data entry. One of the lowest hanging fruits. I don't think you should use AI for that. You can use other tools. I think AI is too much of a powerful tool for such a simple task. Document processing and customer support. And customer support, which differs from the sentiment analysis, this is the generic customer support where in the past we used decision trees. And now with sentiment analysis, we're trying to understand the meaning of what you're saying, how you're saying it, the meaning of how you're writing any feedback back to these financial institutions. Now, the crystal ball itself. What are some of these grand opportunities? Number one, personally for me, would be what's sitting as number two, which is financial literacy. At this stage, we have an opportunity to use AI at scale to bring about financial literacy across to everyone. And this is one of the four pillars of financial inclusion that has been neglected well over time. We have autonomous wealth management. I think we all struggle with learning how to budget, learning how to do these things. Imagine if there was a service that could just do that for you and do it near perfect. Predictive analytics for market trends for your financial institutions, hyper-personalized customer experience. I think this was touched on yesterday with the issue, like with how IoT could also be embedded into that. Blockchain and smart contracts and decentralized finance. Now having these smart contracts being automated through AI. Autonomous regulatory compliance. I love this because sometimes I feel like regulation as a task can actually be replaced by AI. I'd love for it to be replaced by AI. I don't see what would go wrong. Autonomous financial and economic modeling. Now this exists in some part. If you look at in the gaming industry, economic models are built to scale for cities, planets, countries, even galaxies that trade on basic materials all the way to more complex financial models. These financial models, at the back end, there's of course AI that keeps them running for this, for the game, people are playing the games. And this is actually quite powerful that Greece, sometime I believe in between 2017 and 2019, actually took the VP of game economics from a company called Valve and made them their Minister of Finance. And that's because, I guess, having these tools readily available for you, so you could imagine what you could do as an organization to be able to come up with a product, put it in a game environment, and have AI run an entire life cycle, maybe 50 years. How will that product evolve? How will it change? Does it actually bring you value? Does it bring the market value? Does it bring your shareholders value? Product development, this can be tied back to the predictive analytics for market trends. Then AI can actually inform you on what's the next service you need to provide for your customers. Algorithmic trading, which is already happening in some cases where AI is now responsible for more than 50% of certain trades in certain markets. I think that was 2018, 2019, when the New York Stock Exchange, through some AI bots which were trading, actually crashed the market for a few minutes, and more than $1 trillion was lost. But then there was a fail-safe jailbreak that was implemented, and all those bad trades were rolled back. Then portfolio optimization, which ties back into the autonomous wealth management. Now, what are some of the challenges we see with adoption? Data privacy concerns, I think this has been touched on quite a lot, so I thank the speakers for that. Lack of technical expertise, which I will speak on further in greater detail. Regulatory barriers. Mauritius is the only country in Africa that currently has an AI strategy. All the other countries, we've gone as far as most of us just coming up with data privacy laws. And of course, then there will be chances to create laws around artificial intelligence, and we should be prepared to change these laws a lot frequently as AI develops a lot faster. Limited data, this is a unique challenge for Africa. A lot of the data that we would want within Africa sits in silos or sits in forms which are not machine readable. So how do we collect that data? Because, which I'll speak on later, we don't want to just import pre-trained models that are not trained on our own data and then struggle to retrain them. Lack of local AI models, that's again what I was speaking to. We need our own models that are trained on our own African data. Pitfalls that we do make: reckless AI consumption. Now this speaks back to Africa being a net consumer of AI tools. So anything from fraud detection tools, credit scoring tools, which are powered by AI, customer service tools powered by AI, we just shop for them like we're shopping for PowerPoint, Microsoft Dynamics, BI, or Google Cloud. I think that's a wrong approach, especially towards artificial intelligence. The same, adding to that, is the algorithmic biases. The biases that exist in the models that we take up as consumers, not the models we've built, is that they have biases from another culture or from another set of people. They do not have our biases, therefore will not help us correct our existing biases. A lot was said about AI's challenges around biases. I think biases within AI are a good thing. Why? Because these are not biases within AI. These are actually our own biases that are now being put at the forefront. So we are seeing the biases within our data, our actions. AI is exposing that. So if we borrow something that doesn't have our data, we won't know our biases, and we won't fix our problems. So you'll end up implementing AI within your financial organizations, and that will fail. Lack of ethical considerations to its use. I think this is where we use AI tools just to drive stock value and revenue at the expense of the market. I think that's ethically wrong, and that could be a stumbling block. Cyber attacks and data breaches. There's a lot of rush to go to AI, and when there's need for speed, there is no need for cybersecurity. So when we avoid, and then later on that comes to bite us. Of course, the malicious use of AI technology I've spoken on. Wrong uses, of course, I've also touched on that. Now this is where I want to spend my last few minutes on how do you prepare your organization for AI adoption. Now, when you look at use cases, you have to decide, do I really need AI to do this job, or is it too big of a tool to fix this problem? You could imagine you power your house right now from Kenya Power. Imagine having to build a nuclear power plant just for your own house. So if AI is too big of a tool, then you don't need it. Data, I already spoke on this. The challenges of having the right data, having localized data, so that can help you. Hartnell, I believe, covered a lot around the data maturity and the different stages. And then again, this will also inform you where do you sit right then? Where do you sit in your maturity level? With data, you also have to be able to perform tasks such as exploratory data analysis. Is your data good enough? Does your data just have a lot of assumptions? You may have terabytes of data, but it cannot be used to train your AI or has no value to your AI use case. Infrastructure. Infrastructure consists of your data, consists of the hardware. In this case, if your use case you're looking at, are you going to go cloud, are you going to go on-prem? Are you going to go edge? Are you looking for GPUs, graphic processing units, or are you looking for DPUs, which are data processing units? Which one works best? If computer vision, go GPU. If your use case is data crunching and math, then you go for the data processing unit. Talent. Now with talent, the AI space has been significantly active for over 60 years. So there are quite a lot of experts out there. However, after the changes that OpenAI came up, when OpenAI gave us the foundational models within LLMs, there are certain new things which have now propped up, like vector databases, which existed as early as 2005, and I think earlier than that. But then now we are coming up with new things, fine-tuning, embeddings, yes, function calls which were recently introduced by OpenAI. So where do you get the right talent that has this? Do you partner? Do you train people? Don't ask for someone who has 10 years experience in doing embeddings. It's been months. So again, there's that shift. Strategy. On strategy, this comes to one, do you have AI policies? What do your AI policies say? What's your strategy for developing AI? What's your strategy for keeping your AI running? I've been told my time's up. I'll just take 2 more minutes. If I can go back to talent, again, looking for engineers who do ML ops, which is now a combination of machine learning and DevOps. So that when you build your model and it's out there and it's working, models degrade over time. AI models degrade over time and the accuracy drops. If your accuracy threshold is 97%, when it hits 96.9, then you need to retrain your model on new data. So what do? That's why you need your ML ops guys, so that because now this exists in your CI/CD pipeline, so that you're able to train and deploy a lot faster. Collaboration and partnerships is one of the ways you prepare for this, and is probably the most significant one. You won't be able to build your own model on your own. Very few organizations have the capacity to build this, both infrastructure and talent-wise. So you need to collaborate, you need to find the right partners. A good example that I would like to give for collaboration and partnerships, or why you would need it, is right now, I don't think any financial institution can build to scale what OpenAI has built in terms of building a large language model at that scale. So you need partnerships, and I think we've seen the ability to have partnerships if you're building chatbots using OpenAI and partnering with other providers and tools such as LangChain and other teams, and I'm sure there are a few partners within this room who also offer these services. How would I conclude this? I would conclude by going back to this slide. And I think this needs to be the focus of our use cases for AI. We always start off by saying AI is supposed to replace the mundane small tasks. When we are done with that, AI can actually build a future, a big, bright future for us in financial services. Thank you.